Have you ever wished that your house hunting came with dessert? Well, today you're in luck because I'm baking up peanut butter blondies while also breaking down what's going on in the Harris County real estate market. Let's dig in. Hey y'all, and if it's your first time here, welcome to Cooking Up Real Estate. My name is Stacy Roberts, aka This Realtor Cooks, and I'm here to help you discover all things Harris County, Georgia. My son and I moved to this area just last year, so I'm going to be sharing with you firsthand what it's really like to move to the central western part of Georgia. And whether you're moving your family or your business, I'd love to help. You'll find all my contact information in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you'll always be in the loop of all things Harris County, Georgia. Hey everybody, welcome back to Cooking Up Real Estate. I am so excited to actually be cooking with you today. As I mentioned in the intro, we are making some peanut butter blondies. I'm also going to give you a market update about what's going on in real estate here in Harris County, Georgia. So stay tuned for that. And let's get cooking. All right, so I'm gonna get started. So just to note, I have doubled this recipe I found on allrecipes.com because I'm making a batch for us here at home. And I'm also making it for a family from our church who had cancer and surgery and is recovering amazingly. Thank you, Jesus. And so we all come together in our church. It's very communal and I love that about it. So we are making meals. So I didn't want to just bring a meal. I wanted to bring something sweet. And then on top of that, I am always looking for some homemade treats I can make for my son that are not a pack of Oreos, because that child will sit and eat a whole pack of Oreos, and we know it is full of all kinds of bad ingredients. And it is so difficult to get protein into him. Does anybody else struggle with that? So I figured peanut butter, lots of protein. I found a recipe that had a good amount of eggs in it, so lots of protein. So anyway, that is why I chose this recipe. I just used this. This is a Pampered Chef item. This is not an ad, but y'all, there's like two things from Pampered Chef that I 100% recommend to you. One of them is this. It is a dry and wet measure. So you flip it, you can put liquid in, or look, it's all sticky now from the peanut butter, so I'm not gonna touch it, but it goes down, and it is like my favorite thing to do with peanut butter, because then you just slide it, boop, and then I just put it off into there. So this thing is amazing. I don't even know anyone right now that's selling Pampered Chef. If you sell Pampered Chef, link your shop below, all right? Hook yourself up, and they need to buy these. The second thing is the mix and chop. You know, like if you're making ground beef, that thing is amazing. Yes, they have knockoff ones, but listen, I got the Pampered Chef one and it's never led me astray. So I'm really excited about that. So we've got the peanut butter and the softened butter in here. Again, I've doubled this recipe, so that was 2 cups of peanut butter and 2 whole sticks of butter, so a whole cup of butter. And we are going to go ahead and just mix it. So yeah, trying to get healthy, protein-rich snacks into my kid. That is the goal here. I had originally planned to beef it up a little bit with some flax, like flaxseed meal. But then I remembered that can be substituted in for egg, and it's a binder as well as like a very healthy, nutrient-dense food. And I was a little worried with the amount of eggs and like all the reviews saying that these could kind of turn out to be a little cake-like, that I'm like, I don't want that to happen. I'm gonna give you a quick look into what's going on in the blender. You've got this nice, smooth, creamy mixture. So that is just the peanut butter and the butter mixed in there. All right, so now that we have that creamy mixture of peanut butter and butter, we are gonna add in the brown sugar. This is where I took a little liberty with the recipe. If you know me, I usually argue with the recipe. I'm like, I don't agree with that. Let me tweak that. I've never even made this one, so I apologize to the creator of this recipe, but I usually knock down on the sugar just a little bit. So the original recipe was 2 cups for 1 batch. So I am doing 3 cups. So I cut it down by a ½ cup each serving. Honestly, probably could have done a little more, but I was trying to use up some all natural peanut butter. All right, listen y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and blend that. My husband and I, bless his heart, did a Whole30 challenge earlier this year. Now listen, we should all be taking care of our temples. I'm not regretful about that part, but that challenge, that's eating regimen, which partially is not meant to be like a long-term lifestyle because you're cutting out so much. It's kind of to teach you about the whole foods, but then also to see what your body is maybe sensitive to. Like, because you can't even eat beans or legumes like green beans. Like, those are obviously good, healthy, nutrient-dense foods. Some people just don't sit well with them. Dairy, not always bad, right? And women need a good bit of dairy in their diet. So anyway, all that to say, it was eye-opening, no doubt. And mostly what is in food, like added into food and sugar amounts into food is just insane. So all that to say, while we were on Whole30, it wouldn't have been on Whole30. It would have been just post Whole30 because you can't have peanuts either on Whole30. I would have had other nut butters like almond or cashew or sunflower. But anyway, I digress. We're gonna mix that a little bit more. I want to scrape the sides. I was trying to be good and stay in the no added sugar. All right, listen, has anybody else had these like all natural, no sugar added peanut butters? Listen, I try. Lord knows I try to be good, but they're not very good. And especially when you're just eating them by themselves. So I was trying to use that up. And all that to say, usually there's a good bit of sugar. I'm gonna move my notes here. It's my recipe. And for coming up, our real estate market update, I just wanted to write down a few things so I didn't miss it for y'all. These lovely ladies are our farm fresh eggs. We have a homestead here. We live in Harris County in Hamilton. And we have, and I guess I'll just count my shells because here I am just chit-chatting. We're gonna do 8 eggs. It's a lot of eggs. Some people were arguing in the comments about how you really needed to cut back on an egg, but because part of the goal here is a high protein snack, and by the way, I looked it up, 6 grams an egg of protein. I'm gonna do them all 8 eggs. So here we go. We're just gonna chit chat and we're gonna do 8 eggs. So yes, we have a little homestead. We've got hens. We have, well, originally 1 rooster, and I have a 9-year-old son, and we decided to incubate some eggs last spring, right around the time we were getting married. So it was like a wedding going on, and we literally had incubating eggs in our home. And I was so, you can ask my friends about it, like worried that they were gonna hatch like the morning of the wedding. And I had never done chickens before, so I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to care for these things. Okay, you leave them in an incubator for 24 hours, and then they literally just like sit there for a little while, eat their shells, and like you give them a little feed and water, and they really don't need care for, you know, other than warmth, because the incubator is warm. Anyway, just kind of comical because I was so concerned about it happening on our wedding day. Okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 more, y'all. Someone in the comments just let me know if I overdid the eggs, if you're counting. Did I get a shell in there? Sure did. We're gonna just use our finger and we're good. So anyway, all that to say, we ended up with a few more roosters than we wanted because you can't pick and choose what God's gonna create when you have these chickies. So it was actually a really special, cool thing, and I've kind of bonded with the baby chickens because I've raised them, even the roosters. So we'll just see. Everybody's harmonious right now. We're not trying to get anybody kicked off the farm, but if you live in Harris County and you're looking for a rooster for your flock, they're just a backyard chicken mix. It's not anything special. They don't have fluffy feet or anything, but they're sweet. And anyway, if you're looking to grow your flock, protect your flock, I will say our rooster, we moved him out, just having some issues with him pecking a little bit. And we moved him out for a few days, and literally the first day he was out, rat snake in the coop. Never had one before. And then, yeah. So all 8 eggs, we're going in. Actually, I think you're supposed to mix these one at a time. That's usually the gist. I don't have the recipe in front of me because I read it once I got it. That's kind of the way I am with food. Can you see? Get you a little view of the mixer here. So we'll do 1 at a time. That was like 3 at a time. It's fine. So far we got peanut butter, brown sugar, and eggs. So yeah, it's just, it's always something going on around here. But farm fresh eggs, it's a lot more work. It's a lot more money. And you hear about that all the time. But there's just something to the birds. Once you have them, you love them. And being able to just go out and know where it came from and all of that is pretty amazing. And this little handy thing is not Pampered Chef. Sorry, you can't find it there. This was handmade or computer made by my husband and my son on the 3D printer. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, this is smelling really good, the peanut butter. So Cooking Up Real Estate came about because, well, if you are watching this and you yourself are a realtor, you know that you're basically a small business owner as a realtor, and you have to brand yourself. You have to go out and gain your own business. You're sole proprietor. So the first thing they'll tell you is what's different about you, what makes you stand out. And I had a good friend of mine, Andy Linksys, and actually he is who inspired me to do this whole YouTube channel. So thank you, Andy. You have been an inspiration through my whole career. He is a brother in Christ, and he is an awesome agent up in the North Georgia area. So if you're looking for somebody up there like Dahlonega, Lawrenceville, Gwinnett County, he also does like Cumming, Forsyth, all that area. He covers it and he's fantastic. But he gave me this idea. He's like, you love to cook. Like, why don't you do like the cooking realtor thing? And so I was like, I like that. So it first started as a blog, and I'd always wanted to do a cooking blog. And if I'm being honest, I've always wanted to be a Food Network star. So here we are. 2 tablespoons of vanilla. It's a lot of vanilla, but I'm not going to argue this part. Well, you know what? I might actually argue this with the recipe. That's a lot of vanilla, y'all. We're going to cut it just a little shy, just a little bit. And it is baking, so we'll bake out, but that's a lot of vanilla. But maybe to cut the peanut butter flavor? I don't know. All right. So I did like 1 3/4-ish. So it started as a blog, and then I went into the Instagram realm, and I did short form videos, and I still do that. Honestly, not as often as I should anymore, but if you go check me out over there, there's a lot of great recipes and cooking videos that are just me cooking, some kind of like this. But anyway, like I said, my friend Andy brought the idea of getting onto YouTube and kind of how to do it and what to do. And I thought, I've got to stick with who I am. I'm the cooking realtor. And that's how this all came about. That's why the channel is called what it is. And that is why you're here watching me make peanut butter blondies right now. So what about the real estate? We're about to get to that. Let me go ahead and add this flour in so that I can concentrate on that, and then we'll talk a little bit about it as we're getting things into the pan. So listen, the recipe said sift the flour. I don't always sift the flour, but when it specifically says it, I'm like, there must be a reason. Okay, I'll sift the dang flour. So here we go. We're gonna sift it, and let me double check. We are getting 3 cups. So again, doubled recipe. If you're making this just 1, you would only want 1.5 cups of flour. So you will see furry friends visit the set all the time because we have, okay, the chickens. I told you about the chickens. We also have 4 cats. Those also reproduced here on the farm. I'll tell you that story in a little bit. We have 4 fluffy white dogs, a couple Pyrenees, if you know them. They're great to have on your land and to protect us, protect themselves from coyotes and other wildlife. And then to protect our flock as well, even though the one I'm looking at on the floor over here loves to chase the chickens. I know she doesn't mean to harm any of them, right, Daisy May? Yeah. So 4 dogs, 4 cats, an aquarium of fish, and chickens right now. That was 2, y'all, right? Come at me in the comments if I'm adding too much flour. You can be like, that's why they didn't turn out, you were talking. I'll apologize to the family. I'm taking this 2 at a time if they don't turn out. So, oh my gosh, and I forgot to sift. Y'all just watched me do that, and you didn't even, that's all right. We'll sift this 1 cup. I don't think, it's gonna ruin it. So here we go, sifting, and I probably could have just done that right into there, not dirtied this whole bowl, but whatever. All right, so this thing, I've had this thing, you can see it's like dented, probably since I was 22. Anyway, it still works. And when you actually sift it, and I think I was supposed to do that little at a time. So yeah, Food Network may not be calling, but hey, that's all right. All right, let's talk about the real estate market. So I wanted to talk specifically about Harris County real estate because real estate truly is hyper-local, and it can be different depending on where you live. So when I speak about this, again, this is Harris County, Georgia. This is the western central part of Georgia. If you live in a different place, you can always comment or reach out to me, and I'd be glad to look up your market stats, and I'd also be glad to hook you up with a realtor in your area. We always have great networks. That's one of the best things about being a realtor, is having all of our networks, and we could find you somebody who would be so totally dedicated to you in your state, or even just your region if you live in Georgia and you're in another part. So anyway, Harris County, Georgia, here we go. So I am going to kind of talk through what's going on, and then I'm going to show a couple of infographics that kind of show you what it is that I'm talking about. So first, we're going to talk about the fact that Harris County is technically in a seller's market right now. Okay, so I say this because the stats show that our housing inventory amount in Harris County, Georgia is a little over 3.25 months right now. And so what is housing inventory? Housing inventory would indicate how long the amount of homes that are on the market in that area, how long it would take for them to sell. So 3.4 is the month's inventory that we're at right now in Harris County. Seller's market is anything below 6 months. Buyer's market is anything above 6 months, and right at 6, balanced market. So what does that even mean? So seller's market would indicate that sellers are going to have more of an advantage, maybe more advantages in an offer or pricing and things like that. And then obviously the opposite for buyer's market. The weird thing that's going on is that the buyers are kind of behaving, and the market itself is showing the activity of a buyer's market. I know, it's confusing. So here's the deal. Take a look at this stat. This is showing the amount of listings, like active listings, homes for sale on the market, versus the amount that actually sold. That dark blue line is showing the active listings, and the light blue line is showing what's actually sold. You can see that's a stark difference. In most cases, it's 50% or less of the active market is actually selling. Not great if you're a seller, right? But it also is just bizarre, because if you have low inventory and you are in a technical seller's market, you would expect that you would be seeing houses flying off the market. Similar to what a lot of sellers got used to in the basically after really things stopped freezing, because we had that freeze in March to pretty much May of 2020 with COVID. But pretty much from there on through 2023, when the rates went up, things were nuts, okay? If you were in real estate, I don't even think you had to be in real estate. I don't even think you had to be buying a house. You knew that things were nuts. You knew the rates were low as all get out. Sorry to tell you, I'm not gonna have the good news that they're ever going back down there anytime soon. But it was crazy, and things were just like getting insane multiple offers, and things were flying off the shelf. And they probably, I would say during that time, most of the stats, at least where I was working in North Georgia, were like a month or less. There was like no inventory because it couldn't stay on the market long enough. And so I just sprayed this with some nonstick spray, by the way, and I'm just going to go ahead and put these yummy brownies. I'm going to give you a quick look at the batter. Yum. And I'm going to try to do my best at doing this very evenly. Also, one quick note, I would almost always do brownies in like a square pan. And so I had gotten all my square pans out, then I looked at the recipe one more time, and it had actually said a 9x13. And then I saw a few people that made it, and I was gonna argue there too, but it looked like they used the 9x13. So I'm going to abide by the rules, and we're gonna do a 9x13 here. So anyway, the real estate market. So anyway, things were flying off the shelf, multiple offers, all that. That is not happening right now, okay? What is happening is buyers are having a hard time affording, right? Look at the economy, look at the rates again. They have gone up. So some of these buyers might be people that bought during that 2020 to 2023 period, and they got locked into like less than 3% rate. Their payment is insanely low, and they can't afford the house, even the same cost as what they're in now, with that other rate because the monthly cost is too much, right? And then on top of that, you know, just the cost of living is up and all of that. So buyers need cash. They need money to be able to make the sales happen. And so sellers are having to give concessions toward interest, or toward the interest rate, buying down the interest rate, or maybe cash down, whatever it is. And sellers are having to do that. And then, you know, they also may be a little bit more particular about getting repairs. Like, I know it sounds insane, but if you were buying a house back then in the crazy market, people were not even getting home inspections, let alone, goodness gracious, if you asked a seller for anything, they'd be like, well, I have 7 more buyers in line, so you can just scoot on by. So anyway, if you were involved in that market, you gotta just forget about it, because that was not reality. That is not normal, and that is certainly not where we are now. So what does that mean? That means you need to price aggressively, make sure that you are using a realtor that can really help you in looking at your specific, not even just localized county market, but your neighborhood market, and looking at features in your home and all of that kind of stuff. But don't try to shoot for the stars, is what I'm trying to say. This is not really the market for that. If you do that, you're gonna be on the light blue side. If you want, or I'm sorry, you will be on the dark blue side. If you wanna be on that light blue side, on that chart I showed you, you wanna sell your house, you just need to be, you know, pricing your home appropriately. If you are a buyer, it does show that there's opportunity out there for you, okay? Especially if you tried that market a few years ago and now you're like, well, I've saved up and now I actually do want to try this. There's opportunity for you out there. It's a matter of being able to afford it. It's not an opportunity market like it once was, where it's like, man, I just want to snatch up this great deal because it's so cheap, you know, or cheap by the sense of monthly payment. So anyway, that's where we're at here in Harris County, Georgia. And I do believe multiple markets are similar to that, excluding Florida for sure. I know they are in like a pretty heavy buyer's market right now, especially in a lot of the vacation spots, but that's for another day. So basically, save your money if you're buying. That's the best thing you can ever do. Just save, save, save. Don't let yourself be out of the opportunity to be a homeowner forever. I know it is scary. I know it is hard, especially if you are a first-time home buyer, but you will build equity and appreciation and all of those things in having a home, and versus just giving your rent to somebody else. I do truly still believe that. It's just a matter of figuring out the financing and the timing. And if you're thinking, well, goodness, if things aren't looking great in the economy, aren't we just going to head right back into something similar to what we saw in the crash of 2008, 2009? A lot of people are afraid of that. You see a lot of people talking about it. And while there may be very slight declines in the value of homes in certain pockets and areas, mostly you're still seeing at least some appreciation, if not leveled out pricing. So that means that things have not just like dipped down. To make it go and plummet down in price, you would really be looking at the inventory having to be so increased, like way beyond 6 months of inventory with no buying activity for prices to really start to push down. And then another thing that was going on during that time was really bad lending practices. So they were giving mortgages to anyone and everyone. And I can tell you right now, they have to get a lot of financials, and you have to really have a good credit score and all of those things to get a mortgage these days. So they are not just handing them out like pieces of paper anymore either. So if and when that were to happen again, I do not see that happening again, but if it were, that's when you maybe would be a little more concerned on things really crashing down on the real estate market. I think it is still a good investment and worth trying to make that a goal of yours in life. So anyway, that is what's going on in the real estate market here in Harris County, Georgia. And like I said, if you are in another area, I'd be glad to help you find an agent or just even some market stats going on there. Okay, so we have, let me show you the prettier pan. Look at this cutie I got at Aldi. Isn't that cute? And it came with like a little lid. Anyway, I'm gonna say I'm a little skeptical about the depth of these brownies, especially this pan. I think I gave that pan a little bit more of a generous helping, but I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna have some faith. I'm gonna have some faith that the person that wrote this recipe is correct and that they're gonna come out just perfectly. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put both of these into the oven, and once they're out, I'm gonna go ahead and taste test them with you guys. All right, check it out. These look so yummy. I am going to do a live test of them. Let's see which one looks so good. That is so good. The test will be if my son will eat it or not, but wow. And I don't think all 4 eggs did anything but helped it. So I would definitely recommend this recipe. And thank you so much for spending some time with me today, cooking and eating. And I hope that the real estate tips were helpful for you. Just make sure to like, follow, and subscribe so that you can get more content like this and don't miss anything coming up in Harris County, Georgia. All right, here's the real test. What does this guy think of it? That's a thumbs up. All right.